Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about the FANG companies and why someone would want to work for the FANG companies. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, why would someone want to work for a FANG company? Besides the prestige and the brand name, I don't see any positives. What are your thoughts on this? So, well, I mean, the prestige is a big thing for a lot of people. Um, but I think that we should cut the FANG companies a little bit more slack than that, because I really don't like this attitude that I see in some people, and that it seems to be that you want to work for the FANG companies because they are cool companies, because the brand of their company, and I know that I can't control that, but if I was if I was a manager at one of the FANG companies, I wouldn't really want anybody like that in my company. I don't want someone who's really only there because it's gonna give them social status. Sure, it's nice to have a big brand that is well known and so forth, and it does help in many areas, but what you still want people who are there for the right reasons. And I will argue that if you do work for the FANG companies, the right reason to be there, at least if you ask me, would be because you are, number one, interested in grow. If you're a junior developer, it doesn't have to be a junior developer, but you're interested in growing your expertise. Because if you are in one of the FANG companies, or any company, it doesn't have to be a FANG company, any company that really emphasizes good engineering practices, good work cultures, and so forth, and really tries to push that as much as possible, that's a great environment for you to learn. It's a great environment for you to get to connect with people who are like-minded, and you will learn, they will teach you things and you will teach them things. That's a very healthy collaborative environment if it's done correctly, right? And the FANG companies will give you that sort of environment. It's not going to be perfect. There's no company that is perfect, but you're going to get that sort of environment. And that's what you're looking for. If you have the choice between like a company who's really conservative and like doesn't use any of the better practices and kind of works everybody to death, and this, well, I hope we can agree that that's going to be a better choice for you. Other things that I think is very unique about the FANG companies is that some of the projects, not all of them, but some, are among the most successful and prestigious projects in the world. Let's not beat around the bush. That's why the brand to begin with, that's what the prestige is coming from. They have such success cases that there's some pretty awesome stuff going on there. And if you're interested and if you have the talent to join the teams that work on these different projects, there's really nowhere else that you're going to be able to do that. I mean, that doesn't mean that these are the only cool products on the planet. There are tons of stuff. Like there's thousands and thousands and thousands of different products and tools and so forth that's doing amazing thing for the human race every single day. And you could join one of those companies and do the same thing there. But let's be honest here, the FANG companies do have this sort of stuff as well. So if you're interested in it and you want to be on the pinnacle of one of these be part of one of those pinnacle projects, this is probably where you should go. Lastly, I would say that, and this is actually, I would say in many cases, very unique to to companies of this that is in the size range of the FANG companies, where if you're into research level work, where maybe you're not so much about application development, but you want to research new areas of IT, then these are companies that would be very open to this sort of stuff. Definitely. And there are tons of other things that go on with like looking at how people interact, user behavior, human behavior. So because some of these companies, especially Google and Facebook in many cases, like they kind of blur the lines between a classic corporation or like a corporation and a researcher of some sort. And that is a very interesting space to be in, and it's not that common to see that all that much outside of these sorts of companies. That doesn't mean that it's the only place, but I think it's pretty cool. So what I want you to take away from this is that I really believe that the vast majority of developers who are trying to get into IT and trying to create a career, you need to get away from this idea that the only place worth knowing about and the only place worth working at is one of the FANG companies. Guys, they are a minority if we talk about companies in comparison to like how many other companies are around that do IT. There's so many options out there, and you should, unless you really do only care about the prestige, and I really do hope that if that is the only thing you care about, that the recruitment process at the FANG companies is going to like shuffle you out, because I can only imagine what type of work environments going to be cultivated if the only people working in the FANG companies are the people who are basically they like the smell of their own farts. Like that doesn't sound to me at the very least as people I want to work with. But apart from the prestige, I think that the FANG companies have the right work culture, like the grounds for a lot of growth and personal development and collaboration and innovation. They also have some of the most prestigious and highly valued projects in the world, and you're not going to be able to work on those projects outside of those companies. Lastly, if you're into research level stuff and you want to do research work, this is also these are companies who actually does this sort of work, and these things they do happen in other places but not as much. So I think that there are plenty of benefits to working for a FANG company. I just don't want you to think that your entire life is defined by if you work at Google or if you work somewhere else, because that it's not the case. There are plenty of other places that which will fulfill you, and you will get a really amazing opportunity to work on some stuff that is really cool. Have a great day.